Hi guys, welcome to the Truth Factor where we do headlines with an attitude. Hello, Kevin and Rip Curl. How are you guys? God is good. To the Truth Factor where we do headlines with an attitude. I don't want to hear myself again. Anyway, we got just a few headlines, a couple of things. One of these articles, I'm going to tell you when we get to it. If I get a little crazy on it, ranting, just mind me none, okay? Because it really has me hot under the collar. You guys know when I get bothered, I really let go. So, fair warning. We've got one of those that has struck a nerve. Anyway, that being said, we will get right into these headlines. All of these articles are linked in a Wixit in the description in the box below. So let's get to it, guys. Yep. Oh, goodness sakes. What? There we go. Yeah. Okay, so first up, guys, let's talk about this crazy madness taking place in New York. We had talked about some crazy bills that New York was putting out. I believe we covered this when it was first on the table, but it didn't go through. But apparently, she took it to the Supreme Court, and they are upholding it. So for those that like to go and look at the bill itself, here is the investigation of the communicable disease, isolation, and quarantine, the PDF. Basically, the summary of this says, these regulations clarify the authority and the duty of the New York State Department of Health and local health departments to protect the public in the event of an outbreak of communicable diseases through appropriated public health orders issued to persons diagnosed with or exposed to communicable diseases. These regulations also require hospitals to report syndromic surveillance data to the department upon direction from the commissioner and clarify reporting requirements for clinical laboratories with respect to communicable diseases. Now, it gets into the pursuant to the authority vested to the Public Health and Planning Council, and then the Commissioner of the Health by sections, and then of the Public Law, Section 2.2 of Title 10, Health of the Official Complaint of Code, Rules and Regulations of the State of New York is amended. Section 2.6 is repealed, and a new Section 2.6 is added. A new Section 2.13 is added. Now, the 2.13 is the one that we really care about, right? Not to say that all of this is not probably interesting, but this is the one that everybody is in an uproar about. So then there's section 2.25 through 2.30 are repealed. A new section 58-1.14 is added, and section 405.3 is amended to be effective upon publication of notice of the adoption in New York State Register to read as follows. Then we got the subdivision B, C, and section 2.2 are amended, and new subdivisions through the are added to read as follows. A case is defined as a case shall mean a person who has been diagnosed as likely to have as having a particular disease or condition. The diagnosis may be based solely on clinical judgment, signs and symptoms combined with known exposure based on the best available evidence of transmissibility to a case, suspected case solely, and or on laboratory evidence, or on both criteria as applicable. Now, guys, I want to tell you, we pretty much know from the ordeal that we went through with my mother at the hospital. Hey, MG, how are you? We know, because of all of that, having all the meetings with the doctors and everything else, that the one test.
Oh, no, she wasn't even testing. It was their speculations at first.
Yeah, she wasn't even tested. It was something that the ambulance driver said. They went on their speculations. There was no test to verify. It was purely their
The hospital doing.
Guessing and saying that that's what it was before there was ever one test, one anything, before she ever arrived there, because that's what the ambulance driver was purporting to begin with. And so, that being said, from the experience that we had, we also know that because of the records, the hospital records themselves, the little stamp that's on the bottom of one of the specific tests says that this is not cannot be the source, the sole source of their diagnosis. So there has to be other factors. Well, there really is no other factors. It's what they think, what they perceive, whatever. So guys, when I tell you that this mumbo jumbo right here really truly means nothing. If somebody thinks that you're sick, guess what? They're going to come and drag you out your apartment in New York City, and there's not anything you're going to be able to do about it. Because see right here, a suspected case is defined as a suspected case shall mean a person who has been diagnosed, determined as likely to have or possibly having. See, there's that word possibly having. So a particular disease or condition. So guys, I'm telling you, this is a bogus outreach of invasion of somebody's privacy. This is depleting your personal rights. This is overstepping their boundaries 120%. Now, guys, I will be the first one to say that if you had some...
They're going into the minority report.
Absolutely.
Suspicion of it.
Suspicion of it. I mean, me, myself, I will tell you, if somebody has something that is so contagious, dang on, cordon off their house. Tell them they can't go nowhere. If you're so concerned about it, put somebody outside the door to make sure they don't go nowhere. I mean, but to remove people, to take to a said location to where they deem to quarantine you at now, this is going to get crazy, and this is probably going to be a catalyst for some pretty very dark and sinister things to come down the drain, guys. I'm just telling you. I mean, this could even be used against your political opponents, right? Yeah, they hear that you went to this rally, and oh, guess what? Everybody at that rally was exposed to this or that. I mean, everybody that went to church, everybody at this church, you were exposed to this. Guess what? You're gone. It's crazy. Hey there, Watchmen. You've been watching too many zombie movies. I'll quit watching them zombie movies. They ain't no good. Sound like my kids. They always talking about the zombie apocalypse. I'm so sick of hearing about the zombie apocalypse. It's not even funny. Anyway, this here is the first thing that you're going to come to when you come into the Wixit. So guys, I'll even share this PDF with you guys. I'm not going to read any more here. I think you guys get the gist, right? It's not a good deal. It's not a good deal. But I wanted to go straight to the source itself to start this off. And you can see, we're going to stop when we get to here, but this possibly having a particular disease or condition, the suspected diagnose. A suspected case may be based solely on signs and symptoms. So there you go. It can be based solely on signs and symptoms. Oh, you sneezed. Well, you got COVID. Or you sneezed. You got something else. I don't know. What else they could throw out there. but I'm just saying. Signs and symptoms combined with known exposure based on the best available evidence of transmissibility to a case or suspected case. This is where that contract tracing also comes into play, guys.
You say cock-a-doodle-doo and they give you a bird flu.
That's right, cock-a-doodle-doo. You got the bird flu, H1n2, 2, whatever it is, and or laboratory evidence, or on both criteria as applicable. The term suspected case shall include persons under investigation consistent with any guidance that the Commissioner of Health may issue with a respect to particular disease. Say your kids go to school, they have an outbreak. Guess what? Your child was exposed to it. They're going to come and just take your kid out because he was exposed. Yep. Guys, this is not a good thing. I'm telling you, if you live in New York, I would move. Just saying. But if they get away with this in New York, you better bet your butt that they're going to try and push this in other places. Yes, sure, better know this. It's probably going to be somewhere else before too long. If they get away with it in one place, they're going to be pushing it in another. Oh, they will indeed. Let's see. We're going to go down here. Contact shall mean any person known to have sufficiently associated with a case or suspected case, or a suspected case. Guys, that based on the best available evidence of transmissibility, such person has had the opportunity to contact a particular disease or condition. Isolation shall mean the physical separation and confinement of an individual or a group of individuals who are infected or reasonably determined by the state commissioner of health or local health authority to be infected with the highly contagious disease or organisms for such time as will prevent or limit the transmission of the reportable disease or organism to non-isolated individuals to the clinical judgment of the state of commission of health of the local authority and consistent with any direction that the state commissioner or health may issue.
Now, did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
That means indefinitely they can.
Absolutely.
There's no time limit.
There's no time limit.
It's saying
what they deem. Quarantine shall mean the physical separation and confinement of an individual or group of individuals who are reasonably determined by the state commissioner of health or local health authority to have been exposed to highly contagious communicable diseases, but who do not show signs or symptoms of such disease. So, again, we get back to if they say you have whatever you have it. There's no need for suspicion. Anything. Yeah. No, it's suspicion. They say it, it's done. For such time as will prevent transmission of the disease in the clinical judgment of the state of commissioner of health or of the local. Guys, this is so nefarious. I can't even begin. Home quarantine or home isolation shall mean quarantine or isolation in a person's home consistent with the part in any discretion of the state commissioner of health may issue. Congregate quarantine shall mean a quarantine at a location operated or contracted by the state or local health authority consistent with this part with any direction that the state commissioner of health may issue with multiple persons are quarantined. Then we get into the highly contagious communicable diseases shall mean a communicable disease or unusual disease that the state commissioner of health determines may present a serious risk of harm to the public health, for which isolation or quarantine may be required to prevent its spread. Monitor shall mean contacting a person who is the subject of isolation or quarantine order by the State Department of Health. Guys, do you see mandatory quarantine? Shall mean a quarantine pursuant to a legal order consistent with this part. Voluntary quarantine shall mean a quarantine pursuant to a voluntary agreement with the public health authority. Confinement shall mean enforcement of an isolation or quarantine order through the use of a possible use of law enforcement personnel. So we're going to have the law involved. Guys, this is not a good thing. Hi, Kelly. Good evening, Scott. How are you? And Pastor Sam, how are you, honey? In LA a few years ago. Yeah, see, like I said, this isn't going to be just in one place. They're going to push this in all of these states that they can get away with it, guys. So, guys, I don't know who you have to put in office to get rid of these things, but you need to be putting people in office that will do away with laws like this. This is unconstitutional. It is. And in my opinion, it definitely infringes on your pursuit of liberty and happiness, right? I mean, in all seriousness. You raised the issue up in the possibility of abuse of power, and the people said I wasn't being a reasonable person. I hear you. It is an abuse of power. I bet I would be hysterical. I mean, I'm telling you, I would be hysterical if this we would have packed up. I would say la vie. I would leave this state. I would sell this house and we would be gone. I'm telling you, I would not stay in a, and if I have to leave the country, goodness sakes, get that passport out and let's go. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous. I mean, this is insane. And this is what they're doing with your hard-earned tax dollars. They're making these lovely little bills that are going to put you in jail because you may have a cough, you may have a sneeze, you may have whatever they think you have. You might not have any signs or symptoms, but guess what? They saw you sit next to somebody that had signs and symptoms. I'm telling you, this is not going to be good. This is not going to go well. It will not go well. It absolutely will not. Anyway, this is the fourth page of page 28. We're not going to read anymore, but you are welcome to it. I've placed this PDF in the chat right here so that if you, for some reason, have issues going to the Wixit, which is in the description in the box below, there it is, the very first one there, guys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go down here to Times Union. Quarantine isolation law reinstated after the appellate division decision. The court found that the GOP petitioners lacked standing to bring the case on an involuntary isolation. Albany, a rule that allows the state health department to lawfully order someone to involuntarily isolate or quarantine to control a highly contagious disease, such as the 19, has been reinstated in a unanimous decision by a mid-level appellate court. The ruling by the 4th Judicial Department, which has jurisdiction in 22 counties in central and western New York, overturns a decision last year by a state Supreme Court justice. Now, I'm not getting this because I thought, the Supreme Court, maybe this is a little higher than a Supreme Court. I don't know, but I thought the Supreme Court was, pretty high. So how they can overturn that, I don't know. But in a Cattaraugus County, who found the rule violates the constitutional requirement for separation of powers between the legislative and the executive branches when promulgating rules as severe as involuntary isolation. The Republican petitioner said that they plan to appeal the decision to the State Court of Appeals, the state highest court. The GOP officials in a joint statement expressed concern that the case could create precedent for overreach into policymaking. The appellate division's decision to overturn the lower court ruling was issued Friday and based on a technical issue with the lawsuit filed by a Republican lawmaker and an organization. The court found that the GOP officials and the organization did not have sufficiently established why they were so severely harmed, and that the trial court failed to adequately rule on the merits of whether the petitioners had a right to bring the case to the first place. The panel pointed to a landmark state Court of Appeals decision on separation of powers, Silver v. Patica, in 01, a case on budget powers between the Assembly and the governor. To establish the right to bring the case, legislators generally fall into one of three categories: lost political battles, nullification of votes, and usurpation of power, reads the decision in Silver Patica. Only circumstances presented by the latter two categories confer legislator standing. The Republican lawmakers state that the Senator George Borrello, Assemblyman Chris Tagg, and the U.S. Representative Mike Lawler, who was a member of the Assembly at the time of the filing, argued that their legislative powers were usurped from them by the office of Governor Kathy Hochul, which issued the isolation rule last year. The court disagreed with the GOP members. The state legislative retains its powers to address the regulation, the panel wrote about the body controlled by a Democratic supermajority. In July 2022, State Supreme Court Justice Ronald D. Poltz ruled that the isolation rule violated the constitutional requirement for separation of powers between the two branches of government. He noted that it had not been enacted by a state legislator, but by the administration of then the governor, Andrew Cuomo, to respond to the escalating virus pandemic. Involuntary detention is a severe deprivation of individual liberty. Imagine, that's what I said. Far more egregious than any other health safety measures, such as requiring mask wearing at certain venues, Poltz said. The Republicans' official in a joint statement described the ruling as a calamitous decision. This has been David Goliath fight from the beginning on many levels, so it is not surprising that the state, with its limitless resources, have effectuated a win this round. The GOP statement said, "We will never stop fighting for the New Yorkers against government overreach." And guys, this is huge. I mean, I just can't. I feel bad for everybody in New York. I mean, I really, truly do. But this is where these Democrats are taking the country. Is this what you want for your family? Is it? Do you really want this? You think you may, but I'm telling you, you better think again, because you might find yourself in that isolation camp. Oh, mercy. I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. Okay, so in today's earlier stream, we had an article that talked about how China was saying that how, the so-called mystery pneumonia is not a mystery. It's just influenza and RSV and normal cold bugs, whatever, for this time of year, I guess. Well, then later today, End Time Inlines puts out this lovely little article right here that talks about China dispatching hazmat workers seen disinfecting streets, reminiscent of the sea outbreak. Well, guys, I mean, it's just cold, right? It's just cold season. Is this what you do at every cold season? Is you're going to go out and you're going to literally disinfect the entire city again? I mean, this is kind of a little, I mean, I don't know. All those chemicals again, as if we don't have enough chemicals in the air. We're going to pour more in the air. I don't know, guys. Public health workers wearing full protective gear have appeared on the streets of northern China, according to footage on social media, evoking memories of the country's stringent antivirus measures during the 19 pandemic. The hazmat-clad personnel were seen spraying disinfectant in public spaces and saying in China's North Hebei province, roughly 50 miles east of the capital of Beijing, according to the poster of the images and the video footage. It remains unclear whether this was a local government initiative or central government directive. The re-emergence of the gear, however, has raised speculation about the potential return of a pandemic-era restriction amid a surge of respiratory illness, notably among children, which has strained hospitals in the region. The outbreak is being closely watched by the WHO, of course. In the past days, China's state-controlled media have reported on hospitals in Beijing, Tianjin, and other northern areas operating at maximum capacity. Beijing's Children's Hospital alone reported admitting over 7,000 daily cases, one report said. So, guys, we have an uptick in all of these sick children and sick people going in China again. We see these hazmat workers. Where are we going? We've got New York set to put people that they suspect are sick in containment. Goodness sakes, guys, it's getting crazier by the moment. So, in New York, you're not going to have a say to say if you're going to participate or not, right? And it sounds like the same crazy mess is going on in California as well. But I'm telling you guys, I don't know why people stay and forfeit their rights to stay in these states. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, Okay, so then we have Breitbart that is saying that all allies agree Ukraine will join NATO, says alliance boss. So here we're going to dabble a carrot. Now, guys, this here article really is basically if and when the fighting is over, NATO will be able to join membership. To me, this is a carrot. You know, um, they want the fighting to end in Ukraine. They're done. They're done playing around. They're done pushing that propaganda there. They want to end it. So now there's this really big push and talk for reaffirming Ukraine into NATO. So here we have NATO reaffirms its long-term support for Ukraine and says its members all agree, right? I don't know. Turkey might have something to say about it, that the nation will join the alliance, but not while the war is ongoing and not before it has reformed. Now, again, there it is, not before it's reformed. And I guess they get to say what reform is, right? That's a joke. But anyway, here we have this carrot being dangled back in front of Zelensky and the Ukraine people. It's a never ending story. It seems like. The Secretary General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Jens Stoltenberg, again spoke of NATO's membership for Ukraine as a definite matter, despite previous dissent from within the alliance, as he spoke of forthcoming meeting of the NATO Ukraine Council this week. The allies agree that Ukraine will become a member of NATO, Stoltenberg said. As he said, discussions this week would focus on priority reforms for the country to make it fit to join the organization. Recent direct support for Ukraine, cited by the Norwegian politician turned alliance leader, included that the Air Defense Coalition, billions in new funding, and the opening of the F-16 training center in Romania for Ukrainian pilots. Oh, don't they just look so cheerful and so inviting? Doesn't everybody want to join NATO now, right? While Stoltenberg was firm, Ukraine would be joining NATO, meaning it would be a party to the Article 5 protections, which brings all members to war if any one of them is attacked in Europe or North America. He did also make it clear that it would be contingent on some major changes, besides reforms for Ukraine, including full interoperable between Ukrainian forces and NATO forces based on NATO doctrine and training procedures, he said. Ukraine would have to no longer be at war first. He told press during a morning briefing that all allies agree that in the midst of a war, full membership is not possible. But of course, we will continue to look into and address how we can move Ukraine and NATO even closer together. Oh, me. I'm not going to read anymore, guys, but you guys can see they're dangling that lovely little carrot they wanted to end. So, it probably won't go on much longer. That's my bet anyway. If I was a betting woman, I'd bet that it would be ending probably here pretty soon, maybe even by Christmas. Who knows? That's all they ever wanted was to join NATO. I think that's how all this got started, right? That's why Russia attacked. But, hey, he's going to let it go now, right? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, all of this is just too much, guys. And then we're going to go from Ukraine to eating bugs. Yep, that's right, guys. We've got this they're willing to put you in camps now just because they're saying you got something to eat bugs and live in a pod. United Nations to tell first world countries to limit their meat consumption in the food's first net zero plan. Yep. Guys, it's oh mercy. This is what happens when you continue to choose the wrong people. Just can't say it enough. Eat bugs and live in a pod. The climate change zealots, communists are now only coming for your gas-powered vehicles. They want to destroy the cattle and farming industry under the guise of reducing carbon emissions with the net zero plan. And heck, They are storming people's farms, taking out the cattle, doing the birds, whatever. There's all of these sicknesses that are targeting, all of these, all of the food chain, it seems like all at once. Kind of crazy. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization is expected to roll out a food guidance for the first world countries in an effort to reduce carbon emissions. Oh, yeah. This message to the rich countries: consume less meat. The new food system is expected to be unveiled at the COP28 summit next month in Dubai. Nations that overconsume meat will be advised to limit their intake, while developing countries where underconsumption of meat adds to a prevalent nutrition challenge. We will need to improve their livestock farming, according to the FAO, Bloomberg reported. And this is from the Gateway Pundit, but this is being reported in other places. This was from them, right? The world's most developed nations will be told to curb their excessive appetite for meat as part of the first comprehensive plan to bring global agri-food industry into line with the Paris Climate Agreement. So, guys, can we see why all of a sudden we've got so much sickness in the food system? Yeah, new food system. Yep, you got it, sister. Yep, indeed. The Global Food System Roadmap to the 1.5C is expected to be published by United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization during the COP28 summit next month. Nations that overconsume meat will be advised to limit their intake, while developing countries will underconsumption to add meats to a prevalent nutrition challenge. We will need to improve their livestock farming, according to the FAO. So, guys, it looks like, next year they're going to be slapping everybody on the wrist. They're going to be telling you got to get this taken care of. So expect more overkill. Literally expect it. It's coming. It's coming. And what are you going to do? They show up with the FBI. I've seen many people reporting how they're, pouring stuff in people's milk things and turning their stuff, ruining their stuff. It's crazy. And what are you going to do? It's the government. It's insane, guys. It's insane. So prayer. I can't encourage that enough. I'll tell you, it's absolutely crazy. Anyway. Okay. We're all we're one article away from me losing my top. So I'm just giving you guys a chance to exit if you don't want to hear me rant, because it's going to be a doozy. UK detects the first human case of H1n2, scrambles to find contacts of the person infected. Scrambles to find contacts, right? So now if they was in New York, every person that was in contact with it would be in isolation, guys. Guess what? Health officials in the UK have confirmed that the UK's first ever human case of new strain of the swine flu. In an announcement, the UK Health Secretary Agency revealed it detected and confirmed a human case of influenza A H1n2. Yeah, the UK HSA reported. Guys, you just can't make this stuff up, right? And of course, there's another piece of the food chain right there, guys. Being affected, the swine flu here. So yeah, all this just to get us to eat bugs. Yep. Because we got to get our consumption under control here, guys. All right, guys. Now, this article has me hot under the collar. Just a little bit. This here says, godless Christian hating pro-Palestinian mob disrupts a Christmas tree lighting in Ypsilanti, Michigan, chanting, "America is a terrorist state." Okay. Let me start off with, First and foremost, if you don't like America, keep your you-know-what out of it. Do not come to my country and tell us that we are terrorists. That is the most illogical assertion I've ever in my entire life have heard. If you don't like it, get your little kisser out of here. Okay? I'm going to tell you straight up, plain and simple. And yes, everybody has the right to their own opinion and things of that nature. But when you come and you are going to go against the country that is clearly taking you in, I think you should be deported. Deported. If you can't assimilate, don't bother coming here. We're not going to change to your ways. But that's what they're trying to do, guys. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They want to bully Americans so that we will not celebrate our traditions, that we will not continue to have joy where we have joy and everything else. They want to put a damper on everything that has to do with Jesus Christ, first and foremost. Secondly, they want to control every aspect of your lives, guys. This is it's going to get worse than this, I'm sure, before it's all said and done with. It's going to get worse, I'm sure. Howdy, Rhodey. How are you, honey? It's absolutely crazy, guys. It is absolutely disgusting to think that we've got people disrupting what is a tradition in this country, chatting that we are terrorists. We, Americans. Now, I, of course, I vent a whole lot here, and I let you know my opinion. And I tell you that, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that our government does and has done and continues to do. Obviously, with all of just about every article that we've had tonight, we've been talking about, how they've overreached. And again, I know that as an American, we have the right to our opinions and we can say whatever we want. But I think it is ridiculous to think that we're going to allow people to come into our country and call us terrorists. I think that's wrong. Hello, Water Tiger. How are you, honey? This is the modern day left radical, anti-Christian, anti-American bullies and thugs. I absolutely agree with that, right? Godless thugs plotted to shut down the Ypsilanti, Michigan Christmas tree lighting on Sunday night. The protest was organized by radical anti-Israel leftists who are demanding a ceasefire resolution by the community leaders. Christmas is canceled. Shut it down. Oh, I'm sure that they would like to cancel everything that has to do with Jesus Christ and everything that has to do with America. But guess what? They can cause disruptions all day long. They're not going to stop somebody from celebrating. I'm telling you, these people have got to be stopped. For them to allow this type of thing when it is not anything except for hate speech, in my opinion, this is not, this is discrimination. This is an attack on your religious freedoms. And so I'm sure they probably got a permit to do this. And who gives permits for something that is going to be so controversial and so over the top, in my opinion? Who does this? It's just ridiculous, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. The group includes gays, Antifa, socialist, and pro-Palestinian groups. Imagine everybody that hates anything to do with Jesus Christ. These gays are not in the sharpest tools in the shed. The radical, godless leftists ruined the night for the Michigan families who wanted a night of Christmas carols and a tree lighting. Instead, the radical anti-Israel bullies chanted, "America is a terrorist state." The Christmas crowd was forced to move over to the Freight House away from the godless protesters who were there to ruin the evening for everyone. Here is a video. Let me go back and we'll stop sharing. We'll continue to share, but we've got to, I have to check the box and I got to turn the, oh, goodness sakes. Hold on, guys. I clicked on the wrong box. All right, screen, entire. Share. I told you guys I was going to rant. I'm so sorry if I get carried away. I am just, it is. Absolutely. It is indeed, Watchman. It is indeed. Okay, so here we go. All I heard him say was free, free Palestine. Yeah, so all I hear him say, free, free Palestine. I don't hear him saying the other thing anyway, but we'll see. The godless left wants to eliminate Christmas. Let's see what this one is.
Ceasefire in Hazmat. They had many other important. It was an amazing resolution. However, 2 weeks later, they took it back. And now they're going to reconsider. So, now they want to reconsider their resolution, but this one that they want to propose is far worse. So December 5th, Ypsilanti City Council, you could sign up to speak, and you could just show up at their meeting. I'm not exactly sure about the times. 7 p.m.? Okay, 7 p.m. You could, on Instagram, if you have Instagram, AA5000, we'll be posting more information. We are trying to back the resolution in another as well.
This is about a resolution.
So we definitely need help for that. But we gotta keep.
All right. The families were forced to move. We're sure glad you come to one of the more interesting tree lightings we've ever had, a man says in the crowd.
Santa and Mrs. Claus are there already. We got cookies, hot chocolate, cider. Tell Santa what you really want. You can write letters to Santa.
Then they ruined the after party. Free, free Palestine. Yeah. I guess people are not going to get any rest. And I can only imagine it's going to pick up. It's going to get worse before it's all said and done with. Before it's all said and done with. But I think that it's just unfathomable that you would come to this country and disrespect our traditions and disrespect our country. You know, go back to your country if you don't like it here. If you think we're terrorists, well, you go back to where, you know, the real terrorists are. Anyway, I'm going to calm down and we're going to continue on. We have a man shoots and kills 4 at a wedding, including his own bride. This is horrible, guys. I just can't even envision this. I mean, your wedding is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. If you didn't want to get married, what the heck are you doing there? A Thai par athlete and former soldier shot his bride and 3 others before killing himself on his wedding day, police told the BBC. The groom, Chaturag Sakasak, I guess, 29, and Kachama Padachachuk, 44, were married on Saturday in northeast Thailand. According to reports, he left the wedding party abruptly and returned with a gun, shooting his wife, her 62-year-old mother, and a 38-year-old sister. Stray bullets hit 2 guests who were taken to the hospital. One of them died, the police told the BBC. Shadrach was quite intoxicated at the time, but his motive remains unclear. He had bought the gun and ammunition legally last year. They had it. Thai media, citing what guests at the party told the police, said the couple had an argument during the party. It also was reported that Chaturang had felt insecure about the age gap between him and Kanchana, but police said that this was speculation, adding that they had collected evidence and expected to close the case soon. Chaturang and Kanchana had lived together for 3 years before they married, according to Thai media. Chaturang have clinched a silver medal in swimming at the ASEAN Para Games in Indonesia last year. He was also believed to be on the list of athletes competing in the World Ability Sport Games in Thailand next month. He had lost his right leg while on duty with the Parliamentary Light Infantry Force, which patrols Thailand's borders. Anyway, PTSD, anybody? This is absolutely horrible, guys. I mean, I just can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine. It's supposed to be a happy day. The guy was not too happy, was he? End time headlines. Maryland State Police continue enforcing draconian handgun laws that are ruled unconstitutional by the court. So here, guys, you know, really and truly, they're going to do what they want to do. Laws, Supreme Court decisions, it don't matter. They're going to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, whenever they want to do it. Maryland State Police will continue enforcing the state's handgun law for now, despite a federal appeals court ruling that the licensing requirement is unconstitutional. At this time, the HQL law remains in effect, and there are no immediate charges in the process to purchase a firearm in Maryland. The department wrote an agency-wide advisory after last week's ruling. Maryland's handgun qualification license requires applicants to submit to fingerprints for a background check, take a 4-hour firearm safety course with live fire component, and wait up to 30 days for the approval before purchasing a handgun, which then requires another application and a 7-day waiting period. Wow. That's a lot of hoops there. But last Tuesday, a 3-judge panel on the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 that the law is overly burdensome and cannot stand under the 2022 landmark Supreme Court decision that the firearm regulation is unconstitutional unless the government can prove it is consistent with the nation's historical tradition. The challenged law restricts the ability of law-abiding adult citizens to possess handguns, and that the state has not presented a historical analog that justifies its restriction. Indeed, it is seemingly admitted that it couldn't find one. Judge Julius Richardson, a Trump appointee, wrote in the court's majority opinion. But the Maryland State Police Licensing Division said it will continue enforcing the law until the federal court issues a mandate. Maryland officials have 14 days to file the rehearing before a full appeals court. If the state does not file within that window, the court will issue a mandate 7 days later, which means the final court ruling would be December 11th. Officials have not yet confirmed whether they plan to file for a rehearing or alternately seek a review before the U.S. Supreme Court. Maryland Governor Wes Moore said in a statement that he would continue to fight for his law and that this administration was evaluating its options. Similarly, the spokesperson for the Attorney General, Anthony Brown, told Fox 45 News that they were weighing options for the next step. I bet that they are. But guys, there is going to be a huge, battle here. They continue to do what they want. Obviously, when this mandate comes out, they can't do what they want anymore. But we just have to wait and see. And who's to say that they're going to even obey by it? Just because, I don't know. And more states will follow this. That's absolutely right. You got it, brother. You got it. They'll be doing it. Everybody will try to be going over, stepping their bounds. New York has. We know that for a fact, right? And they continue to overstep their bounds each and every day. I mean, I feel like, New York and California are countries by themselves. They are, these third world countries inside of the United States in some aspects with these laws and legislation that's being passed and the things that are being done. I just don't feel like it's like we're in some utopia, distant worlds here with the reality of things that are different in what part of the country you live in. It's crazy. But they're going to continue to push this envelope to restrict your rights in every part. I mean, your health, your food, how you eat, when you eat. We've got the banking system, banks continue to close down. So, that eventually they're going to be pushing this digital currency. So they're going to control every aspect of your life. It's coming, guys. It's coming. For anyone that is still under the delusion that there's some big, plan to save you, that, there's some heroes that are going to come in. Wake the heck up. Wake up, guys. There's no plan. You're being had. I mean, come on. Please. Anyway. If they don't like it here, they do need to go back to another country. They do. Absolutely. If it's so bad here, they need to go back. Anyway, so here we have, this is developing. Emergency rooms in at least 3 states are diverting patients after a ransomware attack. Now, guys, we've been talking about how hospitals have been hit via cyber attacks, and it really does take a toll on these hospitals. But here, this article says hospitals in at least 3 states are diverting patients from their emergency rooms after a major cyber attack hit their parent company last week. Ardent Health Services, which oversees 30 hospitals across the U.S., said Monday that it had been a victim of severe ransom attack in Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas, forcing it to take action. In an abundance of caution, our facilities are rescheduling some non-emergent elective procedures and diverting some emergency room patients to other area hospitals until systems are back online, the company said in a news release. Spokesperson of the 3 Ardent-owned hospital chains across the U.S., Hillcrest Healthcare System in Oklahoma, Loveless Health System in New Mexico, and UT Health in Texas. Wow, UT is a big hospital, guys. Each told the NBC News Monday that at least some of their emergency rooms were diverting patients to other hospitals while the company tries to fix the damage from the attack. Ardent said it has shut down a significant number of the computerized services, including clinical programs and its use of Epic systems, a program that tracks patients' healthcare records. Ransomware is a typical criminal cyber attack where hackers gain access to the company's computer networks, install malicious software that encrypts as many systems as possible, and demands an often hefty ransom payment for a promise to fix the damage. The FBI has repeatedly asked ransomware victims to not pay their attackers, both because there is no guarantee they will provide an inviolable fix and because it fuels more attacks. The hospital problems have been ongoing since Thanksgiving Day when the ransomware attack began. Ardent said it's common for ransomware hackers to wait until a major holiday or a long weekend before attacking in hopes that there will be fewer security employees working. Hackers have consistently targeted hospital chains ever since ransomware became a major cybercrime trend in 19, and at least one instance crippling ransomware attack was a major factor in a struggling rural U.S. hospital decision to close down. So, guys, this does close down hospitals. It is absolutely atrocious to hear this. And I can tell you that I have reported that there was a hospital in Tennessee that was closed down because of these cyber attacks. So this is pretty serious. You start closing down hospitals, and then what are you ain't going to have nowhere to go, right? Some people don't want to go to hospitals these days, but you might want to have something just in case. Then this here is the last story for today, for tonight anyway, for right now, until something else breaks. But right now, this is it. We have 11 freed hostages back in Israel after 52 days in Gaza, capping 4th day of truce. There was 9 children and 2 mothers freed, all from Kibbutz Nur Oz, Qatar. U.S. Hamas announces truce extension to free 20 more hostages. Israel yet to confirm. Alma Abraham fights for life. Anyway, guys, and there's a picture of some of these little kids and hostages that have been released there, guys. Aren't they just so cute? Anyway. All right, guys, that's what we have for you today. And here are all of these lovely little articles, guys. I'll tell you, if you live in New York, you might want to relocate. But guys, I would tell you that even relocating at this juncture is not even. Remember the pipeline. I hear you, Jose. Even at this juncture, guys, it's just not even safe to say even moving is gonna help. You know, it's not even saying that it's gonna help even if you move. I can't even begin to tell you how it is so infuriating. To see and hear all of this. They probably got cornholed. I want to look real quick, guys. Just one little quick last, because I hate when I end a stream and we have something break, because every time it seems like every time I end the stream, there is something else that happens. So I want to just check just a couple of places, guys, really quick before I do end this stream to see if there's anything huge that we need to report. Just because, you know, I love you all so much. I want you to have so much. I'm even at our lovely place, Fox, and I'm not seeing anything, guys, that absolutely needs to be covered. We'll go back to the Gateway Pundit one more time, and yeah. Oh, I got to show you all this. This is just, I mean, I'll tell you. I have, there needs to be, and this is just my opinion, guys. This is Renee's opinion and only Renee's opinion. So, you know, but I think, oh Lord, I think I've got to show you this. This is just so crazy. I think if you cannot decorate, I think that this is, I mean, you know, everybody has had, they all have different tastes, clearly. This is, I don't know. This is just tacky in my opinion. Absolutely tacky. This is what the White House looks like. Jill had it decorated and unveiled her lovely decorations that she thinks is great. But guys, the thing of it is in my opinion, you know, the White House is supposed to be iconic, supposed to, you know, and I know that it's the first lady's job to decorate, but this just, I mean, you know, I don't know, guys. This here would be lovely if it was in a garden. This is like outside decorations, you know, it's a bit big and I don't know. What do you all think? I mean, I know this is just, it's just me, but it's crazy, guys. I think it's a bit much. I don't know if there's any other pictures on here. I didn't look at this article earlier. But just those two right there is just crazy. Let's see if we can get it to come up more. Wow, that's just a bit much. You know, I'm just saying. I mean, I know it's a big place and everything, and you got to, you know, but I think sometimes less is better. What do you think? You know, I'm not into all of this, you guys, you know, I mean, but, and maybe that's why it's a bit much, but it's crazy. Now, I will tell you, I like the little thing here, you know, but not inside. It's just, I don't know, guys. And this takes up the whole mirror. It just looks, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I had to show y'all that. I saw that earlier and it just is crazy. Just a little bit much. To me, those look like outside decorations, not something you'd have inside. Now I like the little train set. That's cute. But just a little bit much too. Oh my goodness sakes. Oh Lord. Please. I mean, does anybody find that nice? I mean, does anybody like that? I'm just saying. Wow. Well, there's Melania has just as much trees there herself. I don't know. Maybe they need to set like a permanent type of guideline. Every year it has to be decorated a certain way. I know that might be mundane, but I don't know. I just think some of this is just too much, guys. Just too much. I think someone is colorblind too. I do indeed. I absolutely do. Anyway, guys, I love y'all. And that's all that I have for you. Absolutely. The White Trash House Christmas. Absolutely. It's crazy. It is. It is absolutely crazy in my opinion. Anyway, I love y'all. I thank God for each and every one of you. I pray that y'all have a blessed night. And we'll see you all later. God bless you. They're killing all the trees. Yeah, they are. That's an overkill, to say the least. Anyway, God bless y'all. Bye. Bye-bye. Avery says bye-bye.